Good day, everyone. Brian Brown from briangBrownonline.com, coming to you this morning with a message that's very near and dear to my heart. That message is this. Life is not a dress rehearsal. It is the performance. I had the unique privilege of hearing an interview of Jackie Joyner-Kersee, a famous Olympian female runner and gold medalist, world record setter, you name it. And she was asked the question by the interviewer, and this captivated me. She was asked the question, Jackie, were you always that fast? And she replied, when I was 9 years old, I ran my first race, competitive race. And she said, I came in last place. And she said, I looked up at the podium during the award ceremony, and the only thing I could think of is, I want to be there. And she said at age 9, she made up her mind at that point to shave 1/10 of a second off of her time. And if she was doing that, she was actually making progress. In her mind, that was progress. And, she goes on to explain a little bit more about that. And the mindset of a champion is this. It doesn't matter if it takes a month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year to shave that 1/10 of a second off that time. It doesn't matter. She was in it for the long haul because this was not a dress rehearsal. This was the performance for her. There was no saying, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Or if this doesn't work out, I'll just go back to being that student that sits in the classroom. No, for her, it was everything. This was the performance. This was the grand stage. Every single practice, every single training session was a performance for her. And, I think a lot of times as adults, we don't get that message. A 9-year-old got that message on her own. And as adults, we miss that. We miss the beauty and the simplicity of just viewing things through a child's eyes and saying, I don't care, in business, for example, I don't care if it takes me 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months to get my first customer. I know this works. I know I'm going to stick with it. I know it's the future. Therefore, I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to keep improving myself. The self-development, what Jackie Joyner-Kersee wouldn't tell you is this self-development for her was equally as important as the physical development so she could shave 1/10 of a second off of her time. And this 9-year-old kid had it. She had her head screwed on straight, so to speak. And there wasn't anything about her that was willing to give up. And so I think we could take a valuable lesson from the former 9-year-old Jackie Joyner-Kersee and really come into our own life, bring that into our own life, and just have the mindset of a champion that life is not a dress rehearsal. It is the grand performance. And we can make the most of that at any moment of the day, any time of the year, whatever we decide to do. And it's no different in becoming a digital entrepreneur. For me, it was, deciding that, okay, I'm in a medical profession that I spent a lot of money in university training to obtain. And the way healthcare is going, I don't like it. I've got to figure out something that's gonna set me up for the future, so I'm not working 60 and 70 hours a week when I'm 80 years old. And that's the way it was headed. And implementing a business in this digital economy has been something that has probably been one of the most fun things I've done and one of the most challenging things I've done because the skills are all new. Learning how to develop a website, easy as a click of a button. If you can cut and paste, you can develop a website these days. If you don't want to cut and paste, you can hire somebody to do it for almost nothing out there. So, you're too old. There's no too old. I was at a recent conference. It was an internet entrepreneurial conference in Las Vegas, and this was back in the fall. And there was a couple in there They were in their late 70s, but vibrant. Oh my God, these people were vibrant and active and just full of energy and full of thought and full of vision and dream. And I looked at them and I was inspired. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm only 47 years old, and some days I think, God, I'm too old for this. But we're not. We're not too old for this. So you have enough time. You're not too old. This is easy. So it takes some effort. It takes some self-development, because when you're working for yourself, you've got to have your mind straight. You've got to have the mentality of that champion, and value every second that you have in your day, and leverage your time. We can't gain any more time. There's only 24 hours in a day. Everybody's allotted the same amount of time. And you look at some people and you think, how do they get so much accomplished? They get so much accomplished because they know how to leverage time. They know how to put systems in place that work for them versus them having to work for that system. And that's one thing that took me years to understand. But once I grasped that concept, it was done. I was like, okay, that's what I want for my life. I want to be, 65, 75, 85, 95 years old and traveling the world. I want to be in the best health of my life, and nothing holding me back, and still owning and operating a business that runs by itself, basically, with putting very minimal time and effort into it. Sure, you're going to have to lay a foundation. Everybody has to lay a foundation in themselves personally and in their business. But hey, you lay that foundation right, and the sky's the limit. So all that being said, just remember today that time is your ally. It's not your enemy. And that if you can shave 1/10 of a second off your time, if you can leverage your time enough to get that 1/10 of a second, you are making progress. You guys have a great day.